My stepchildren told their friends I don't do anything for them, so I stopped doing anything and watched them correct the story themselves. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. I used to believe that if you stayed quiet, worked hard, and showed up every day, people would eventually tell the truth for you. Turns out some people only respect what disappears. I'm not here to paint myself as a saint. I'm not here to claim I handled everything perfectly. I'm here because for 7 years I played a role I thought mattered, and then I learned exactly how invisible that role becomes once people decide they're entitled to it. My name is Marcus. I'm 41. I work in IT project management, which means I solve problems most people don't see until they become emergencies. That skill, ironically, is what got me into this mess in the first place. I'm good at fixing things quietly, at anticipating needs, at being the person who handles it so no one else has to think about it. I met their mother, Claire, at a charity 5K 7 years ago. She had just finalized a messy divorce, the kind that drains everyone involved financially, emotionally, spiritually. Her ex-husband, Derek, had been having an affair with a coworker for 2 years before Claire found out. The betrayal wasn't just romantic. He'd been hiding money, making unilateral decisions about the kids, undermining her parenting. By the time the divorce was final, she was exhausted. Her kids were 9 and 12 when we met. Ethan and Lily. Good kids, from what I could tell. Polite. A little guarded, which made sense. I wasn't looking to be anyone's replacement dad. I didn't walk in with speeches about stepping up or filling shoes or becoming a family. I just showed up, quietly, consistently, the way adults do when they think love is proven through action, not applause. At first, things were fine. Awkward, sure, but manageable. I cooked dinners because I like cooking. I'm actually pretty good at it. My mom was Italian, and she taught me that food is how you show love when words feel insufficient. So I made lasagna, chicken marsala, homemade pizza on Friday nights. I handled school pickups. Because my job was flexible, I could work from home most days, shift my hours around. I fixed broken drawers, replaced dead batteries, assembled furniture from IKEA that came with instructions in 4 languages, but no actual sense. I stayed up late helping with science projects I barely understood, Googling things like, how does photosynthesis actually work at 11 p.m. while Lily Panic built a poster board? I didn't announce these things. I didn't keep score. I assumed wrongly that people noticed, that actions spoke louder than words, that being present was the same as being valued. Claire and I got married when Ethan was 13 and Lily was 10. Small ceremony, just family. Derek wasn't there, thank God, but his shadow was. Ethan kept checking his phone during the reception, texting his dad updates. Lily cried during the vows, and I wasn't sure if it was happy crying or sad crying or just overwhelmed crying. But afterward, she hugged me and said, "I'm glad you're here." I held on to that. By the time Ethan was 16 and Lily 14, the rhythm of the house depended on me. Morning rides to school because Claire's job as a nurse meant she left before 6 a.m. for her shift. After school practices, Ethan played lacrosse, Lily did competitive dance, weekend grocery runs, always with a list Claire made, but I executed. Utilities paid on time, always from my account because I'd set up autopay and it was just easier. A fridge that was always stocked. Phones that never got shut off. A car that magically ran again after making a strange noise because I'd taken it to the mechanic, waited 3 hours, and paid the bill without mentioning it. I wasn't flashy about it. I thought that was the point. I thought being a good partner, a good stepfather, meant not needing credit. Meant doing things because they needed doing, not because you wanted applause. I was wrong. The first crack showed up at a barbecue at Derek's house. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Why was I at my wife's ex-husband's house? Because that's what mature co-parenting looks like, apparently. Claire insisted it was important for the kids to see their parents getting along, to see that divorce didn't mean warfare. So twice a year we did these awkward gatherings. Derek's new wife, Amber, would smile too much and ask invasive questions. Derek would grill and make dad jokes, and I would stand there drinking a beer, trying to figure out where I fit. This particular barbecue was in late June. Hot. Humid. The kind of day where everything feels sticky. I was standing near the grill when I heard Derek's friend, Loud Guy, perpetual beer in hand, the kind of man who likes to talk over people, laugh, and say to Ethan, So what does your mom's husband even do around the house? He just hangs out? Ethan was 16, tall, getting cocky in that way teenage boys do when they're testing boundaries. He shrugged and said casually, like it was obvious, "Honestly? Not much. He's just there. Like he works and stuff, but mom does most of the real work." It was casual, tossed out like it meant nothing. But it landed hard. Lily, who was nearby, chimed in too. 14 and increasingly interested in fitting in with her brother's opinions. "Yeah, mom does everything. He just kind of exists in the background." They laughed. Derek's friend laughed. Even Derek smiled, like he'd been vindicated somehow. I didn't react. I flipped a burger. I smiled. I took a long drink of my beer. Inside, something folded in on itself. Something I'd been building for 7 years quietly collapsed. That night, I asked Claire about it. Gently, calmly. We were in bed, the lights off, that specific kind of darkness where it's easier to say hard things. "Did you hear what the kids said today?" I asked. She was quiet for a moment. Then, "About what?" "About me. About how I don't do anything." She sighed. Not the sympathetic kind. The tired kind. "They're teenagers, Marcus. They don't think before they speak. You know how they are." "Do I?" I asked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, do they actually think I don't do anything? Or were they just saying that to fit in?" "Does it matter?" She rolled toward me, and I could feel her looking at me in the dark. "Marcus, you can't take everything personally. They're kids. They say stupid things. It doesn't mean anything." But it did. It meant something to me. I told her it was fine, that I understood, that she was right. But I was lying. Because once you hear something like that, you start listening more carefully. You start noticing patterns you'd ignored before. I noticed how often my name was missing when stories were told. How "we went to the game" became "Mom took me to the game." How rides, payments, repairs, and plans turned into background noise, like infrastructure, necessary, uncredited, and taken for granted. At Lily's dance recital, she thanked her mom from the stage. Just her mom. I'd driven her to every practice for 3 months. I'd paid for the costume. I'd recorded the performance because Claire was working a double shift. But when Lily stood under those lights and said, "I want to thank my mom for everything," I wasn't mentioned. When Ethan got accepted to a summer lacrosse camp, he posted about it online. Long caption about hard work and dedication and grateful for my mom who always believed in me. I'd paid the registration fee. I'd driven him to tryouts. I'd stayed up late helping him write the application essay. But I was invisible. The emotional wound wasn't just disrespect, it was erasure. It was being treated like furniture, useful but unworthy of acknowledgement. Then came the post that changed everything. It was a Saturday morning in early September. I was drinking coffee, scrolling through my phone before starting weekend errands, and there it was. Ethan had shared something on Instagram, a long caption about growing up too fast and learning to be self-sufficient because some adults don't really step up the way you need them to. The comments poured in, friends sympathizing, people praising his maturity. One comment that made my stomach turn, "Your mom is incredible for doing it all on her own." Lily had liked the post. So had Claire. I stared at my phone for a long time. Not angry, not even shocked, just clear. Suddenly, horrifyingly clear. That's when something shifted. Not plotting, exactly. But clarity. A decision forming like ice crystallizing on a window. I didn't announce anything. I didn't threaten. I didn't argue. I simply stopped. The next morning, Sunday, I didn't wake Ethan for his 7 a.m. lacrosse practice. His alarm didn't go off. I'd been his backup alarm for 2 years, checking to make sure he was up. This time, I stayed in bed. He woke up at 8:30, panicked, ran downstairs. "Why didn't you wake me?" I was reading the newspaper. "I figured you'd set an alarm." "I did, but you always check." "Did I?" I sipped my coffee. "I didn't realize I did anything around here." He stared at me, then grabbed his stuff and had Claire drive him. She was annoyed it was her one morning to sleep in. I didn't drive Lily to dance practice that afternoon. When she asked, I said, "Ask your mom." She's sleeping, she worked a double. Then I guess you'll need to figure it out. She ended up getting a ride from a friend's parent, but she was late, and when she got home, she slammed the door. I didn't make dinner that night. I ordered a pizza for myself. When Claire came downstairs and asked what was for dinner, I said, I wasn't sure what everyone wanted. She looked at me confused. You always just make something. Do I? I asked. I thought I didn't do anything. That's when she realized something was wrong, but she didn't push. Not yet. She assumed I was having a bad day, that I was tired, that I'd bounce back. I didn't. Monday morning, I didn't drive anyone to school. I left for my office early, something I hadn't done in years. Claire had to scramble to get the kids ready and out the door. Ethan missed the bus. Lily forgot her dance bag. I stopped paying the phone bills. I went into my account and removed Ethan and Lily from my family plan. Sent Claire a text. Hey, transferred the kids' phone bills to your account. Figured you'd want to handle it since you do everything anyway. She called me immediately. Marcus, what is going on? Nothing, I said calmly. Just realigning responsibilities. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing, I said. And I hung up. I stopped handling school emails. I unsubscribed from all the parent portals, the team notifications, the automated reminders. Claire's inbox started flooding with things she didn't know existed. I canceled my autopay for Lily's dance fees. When the studio sent a late notice, Claire called me, stressed. Did you forget to pay? No, I said. I intentionally didn't pay. That's your responsibility now. Since when? Since I learned I don't do anything. There was a long silence. Then she said quietly, We need to talk about this. We already did, I said. You told me they're just kids, that it doesn't mean anything. So I'm treating it like it doesn't mean anything. I stopped fixing things immediately. When the dishwasher broke, I Googled a repair service and left the number on the counter. When the garage door opener stopped working, I didn't replace the battery. When Ethan's laptop charger frayed, I didn't order a new one. The second consequence was irritation. Ethan complained that rides were unreliable. Lily snapped that dance was getting messed up. Claire asked why everything felt harder all of a sudden, why the house felt chaotic. I reminded her calmly that she'd said she handled most things anyway, that the kids agreed, that I was just stepping back to let the truth be the truth. You're being petty, she said one night. Am I? I asked. Or am I just finally being honest about how little I'm valued? She didn't have an answer for that. The third consequence was social. Teachers started emailing Claire about missed forms, unsigned permission slips, unpaid fees. Coaches called about attendance issues. Ethan's lacrosse coach pulled Claire aside and said, Is everything okay at home? Ethan's been distracted lately. Lily's dance teacher sent a concerned message. Lily's missed 3 practices this month. She's at risk of being pulled from the competition team. And then friends started noticing. Ethan's best friend Jake asked him one afternoon, Dude, why are you always scrambling for rides now? Didn't Marcus used to take you everywhere? Ethan didn't answer. He just shrugged. But the question lingered. That was revenge action number 1, absence. But absence alone doesn't teach, it reveals. The real shift came 3 weeks into my withdrawal. A major school fundraiser deadline passed. Usually I handled the paperwork and payment. It was easier for me since I worked from home and could print, sign, scan, and submit during lunch. This time I didn't mention it, didn't remind anyone. Just let it pass. Ethan was publicly removed from the Honor Society induction list because the required parent commitment form wasn't submitted. His name was supposed to be announced at a school assembly. It wasn't. His friends asked why. He had no answer. Lily lost her reserved spot in a regional dance competition because the registration fee wasn't processed on time. She'd been preparing for months. The competition was a big deal college scouts attended. When she found out, she cried for hours. They were embarrassed, not privately, publicly. Friends noticed, coaches noticed, parents noticed, and people started asking questions. One of the dance moms, Karen Always a Karen, pulled Claire aside at pickup and said, Is everything okay? I noticed Lily's been struggling lately. If you need help managing everything, there are resources. The implication was clear. You're failing as a parent. Claire came home furious. Not at me, initially. At the situation. How did we miss the competition registration? We didn't, I said. You did. I don't handle those things anymore, remember? Marcus, this is ridiculous. You're punishing the kids to prove a point. I'm not punishing anyone, I said evenly. I'm simply not doing things I've been told I don't do. That's semantics. No, I said. That's honesty. She stared at me, and for the first time I saw something other than frustration. I saw fear. Fear that this wasn't temporary, that I wasn't going to fix it. The breaking point came at a family gathering a month later. Claire's sister was having a birthday party. Big backyard thing, lots of family. And Derek was there because apparently he's family adjacent now. His friend, the same loud guy from the Barbec, was there too. I almost didn't go, but Claire begged me, said it would look bad if I didn't show. So I went. I brought a bottle of wine. I smiled. I stayed quiet. And then Derek's friend started talking, loud as always, beer in hand. So, Claire, he said, grinning, how's it feel doing everything on your own? I mean, I know you've got Marcus, but he's pretty hands-off, right? The table went quiet. Claire's face flushed. Before she could respond, Ethan spoke. No. His voice was sharp, loud enough for everyone to hear. That's not true. Everyone looked at him. What? The friend asked, still grinning like this was a joke. That's not true, Ethan repeated. He looked at me, then at the table. Marcus used to do everything. Like everything. We just didn't realize it. We didn't appreciate it. The grin faded from the friend's face. Lily spoke next, quieter but clear. We messed up. We said he didn't do anything, but he did. And then he stopped, and everything fell apart. The silence was absolute. Claire reached for my hand under the table. I let her take it, but I didn't squeeze back. Derek's friend mumbled something about needing another beer and walked away. That was the real revenge, watching them fix the narrative themselves. The fallout wasn't instant forgiveness. Things were awkward for weeks. Trust doesn't snap back into place like a rubber band. It has to be rebuilt, slowly, with new patterns. Claire and I went to therapy. She cried during the first session, talking about how she'd minimized my role because it was easier than acknowledging how much she relied on me. How she'd been so focused on proving she could survive her divorce that she'd ignored who was helping her survive it. The kids wrote me letters, actual handwritten letters. Ethan's was short. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I do now. Lily's was longer, pages of apologies and realizations and promises to do better. I didn't immediately resume everything. I chose what I wanted to give back. Boundaries replaced autopilot. I started driving Ethan to practice again, but only twice a week. The other days, he took the bus or found a ride. I cooked dinner most nights, but everyone had to help chopping, cleaning, setting the table. I resumed paying for some things, but not everything. Ethan got a part-time job to cover his phone bill. Lily started babysitting to help with dance fees. The secondary consequence was growth. Uncomfortable, slow growth, but growth. And the final embarrassment? That came months later at another barbecue. Different setting, different energy. Ethan was talking to Jake about college plans. I was nearby, not eavesdropping, but not far enough away to miss it. Jake said something about his own stepdad being useless. Ethan cut him off immediately. Don't say that, man. You don't know what someone's doing behind the scenes. We learned that the hard way. Jake looked confused. What do you mean? I mean, Ethan said, glancing at me, we took someone for granted. We said he didn't do anything. And then he stopped. And we realized how wrong we were. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Because here's what I learned. Doing everything quietly doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible. And invisibility invites entitlement. People don't value what they don't see. And if you never make them see it, they'll assume it doesn't exist. I didn't stop out of cruelty. I stopped out of self-respect, out of a need to be seen, not for applause, but for acknowledgement, for basic recognition that I mattered. And the thing is, it worked. Not immediately, not perfectly, but it worked. Claire tells me now, regularly, that she sees me, that she appreciates me, not in grand gestures, but in small moments, Thank you for driving him. Thank you for fixing that. Thank you for being here. Ethan introduces me as my stepdad now, not my mom's husband. Lily leaves notes on the fridge, small things, real things. Thanks for helping with my homework. Thanks for making dinner. We're not perfect. We still argue. We still have moments of disconnect. But there's respect now. There's acknowledgement. And that's what I needed all along. So, tell me, was I the asshole for stepping back and letting the truth surface on its own? Or would you have done the same? Because I've thought about this a lot. I've wondered if I handled it wrong, if I should have communicated better, if I should have sat everyone down and explained instead of withdrawing. But here's the thing. I tried that. Before the barbecue comment, before the Instagram post, I'd mentioned feeling underappreciated. I'd asked Claire if she noticed everything I did. She'd said yes, but her actions didn't reflect it. The kids didn't change. Sometimes words aren't enough. Sometimes people need to feel the absence to understand the presence. I don't regret it. I regret that it had to happen. I regret that my stepkids had to learn the hard way. I regret the pain it caused, but I don't regret standing up for myself. Because the alternative was continuing to disappear. Continuing to be taken for granted. Continuing to give and give and give while being told I gave nothing. And I couldn't do that anymore. So if you're in a similar situation, if you're the invisible one, the one doing everything while being credited for nothing, I want you to know this. Your absence will teach what your presence couldn't. Not out of cruelty, not out of punishment, but out of truth. People need to understand what they have before they lose it. And sometimes, the only way to teach that lesson is to let them lose it. Temporarily, carefully, with boundaries. I didn't abandon my family. I recalibrated my role. I made them see me by making them miss me. And it worked. Now, I'm not invisible anymore. I'm seen. I'm valued. I'm appreciated. And that makes all the difference. Drop a comment and tell me how you would have handled it. Would you have done the same? Or would you have taken a different approach? I genuinely want to know. And if you enjoyed this story, if it resonated with you, if you found yourself nodding along or remembering your own moments of invisibility, please like the video and subscribe to Reddit Visuals. It really helps the channel grow, and it means more than you think. Because stories like this matter. They remind us that we're not alone, that our experiences are valid, that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Thanks for listening, and remember, you deserve to be seen.